All right, so this is the recording for Metabolism 1.2. And so this was covered on Wednesday or Thursday. And so this is kind of, we're diving into metabolism, and we took the pretest last class. So now we're kind of diving into the content. And so we're going to use a digital model today to make some observations of the human body. And we're going to kind of test some different diets and just observe some different things using the simulation. And so the first thing that you are going to have is there is a warm-up in Canvas. And so on this warm-up, we're going to see that we have our new patient, Elisa, and she's feeling tired all the time. And so we're going to try to diagnose her and figure out what's wrong with her. So down here, you're going to have to write your ideas about why she is tired and what are your initial thoughts. Obviously, we don't really know a lot yet, but kind of think about what the human body needs to function properly and what we need to be healthy. And so the next thing you're going to notice, and I'm going to scroll down here to my direction slides. You're going to see that the first slide is a video. I'm not going to play this for you because you will not be able to hear my sound through this recording, but watch that on your own if you missed it. It's just an introducing Elisa, what her condition is, what our mission is. So like I kind of said, our mission is to diagnose what's wrong with Elisa. She's sick, she's feeling really tired and exhausted all the time. So we're going to figure out what's going on with her. And so the next thing that we just did with the warm-up, which is in Canvas, and then we are going to use this simulation today. And so we're going to use this simulation to model the human body and learn how a healthy human body functions. And so we are focusing on the word metabolism. And so, oops, I'm going to scroll a little bit longer here. Oops. I'll go over that after. So back to what I was going through. So we are focusing on metabolism. I was looking for the definition of metabolism, but that's going to come up in a little bit later. And so, like I said, we're simulating what happens with the human body. And so this is kind of a video, if you would like to watch it, about how the simulation works. Up here, I have linked it for you. And so in your notebook, you are completing slides 5 and 6. And so on slide 5, it's kind of an initial diagnosis form. And so we know that our patient is Elisa and she's a female. And so you are going to write her symptoms, which you need to watch that video to get that information. And then how the simulation works, that is going to be through exploration. And so this simulation, it's loading. But when it loads, you're going to explore the simulation and you're going to choose healthy body and observe. And I'll show you what that means in a second. And you're going to figure out how the simulation works, what you notice, what happens to the food and air that enter that healthy body, and what are the molecules that are entering the cell. And then down here, you're going to make your initial guess. So let me show you what I mean by these things. Looks like my simulation is almost loaded. All right, so here is the simulation, and what you're going to do is you're going to click healthy body, you're going to click yes, and then you're just observing. And so you're observing what each one does. So our blue is respiratory, and you can click out in the space. And each color in each one represents them. So our green is our digestive, and you can kind of simulate and watch all these things happening. All these different colored shapes that are entering and leaving, these are our molecules. So down here you can see our green circles. Over here are oxygen. We have little glucose down here. and all different kinds of things. So you're kind of just playing around with it, seeing what goes on, and answering the questions that were right here. So how the simulation works, what do you notice, what happens when the food and air enters, what are the molecules entering, and like I said, that's these down here. The next thing that you need to do is slide 6, and this was kind of the homework. And here's when you're actually going to start running your first test. And so you're going to test diets in the simulation. And so you have instructions here, but I can tell you too. We did this one together in class. So one chart on one side is the number of servings you are giving the simulation, and then over here is your results. So if I put 2 servings of corn, 2 servings of fish, and 2 sandwiches, I'm going to reset my simulation because now you want to have your simulation in healthy body test mode. So you're going to click test, and I'm going to give them 2 things of corn, 2 things of fish, and 2 sandwiches. And then I'm going to run it, and I'm going to make my speed go faster because you are going to run it until this timer reaches 200. And it will actually stop on its own. Once this timer reaches 200, we're going to click on our graph view, and that's going to give us our information that we're entering in the other side. So these are our servings, how many we fed, and then this is going to be the information we get from our graph. Down here, you get to do 2 of your own. So you can give them 1 of each. You can give them 2, 1, and 3, but you have a total of 6. So you can do whatever you want down here. But remember, you're trying to get an accurate idea of how much each type of food, affects the body. Oops. Because you can only have room for 6 things to go in here, but are more sandwiches better? Is more fish better? You're kind of taking some ideas and starting to learn what each type of food is doing to our body and what each type of food is giving us in relation to our molecules down here. And so it's going. All right, so our test has concluded. It ran 200 or for 200. So then you can click your graph up here. And right here is where you're going to get your info. So we see that the total molecules absorbed by the cells, we had 63 glucose, 57 amino acids, and 245 oxygen. So those 3 numbers are what you enter here. Okay. Going back to our agenda, we did both of these. So you should have slide 5 and 6 done in your notebook. And then there's a warm up and an exit ticket in Canvas. There's plenty more information in these slides, and we had discussions during class, but the idea is that as humans, we need food and air to function. We kind of had a discussion on what a healthy body needs to be healthy and functioning, and so food and air were kind of the main focuses of today, and so we kind of took some time to observe. And our unit question that we're focusing on this time is, how do trillions of cells in the human body get what they need to function? And what do each of these cells do with the things they absorb? So pretty much, how is our body functioning and carrying out all these different things? And like I already said, our focus is to figure out why Elisa is so tired all the time. And so I'm going to kind of skip through those. I'm going to skip through that one. The focus of our kind of unit is metabolism. And so this is just the body's use of these molecules for energy and growth. This definition you should have entered in your Cornell notes. And so let me backtrack. Your Cornell notes, and these are a little complicated because I already entered stuff for next lesson, but the Cornell notes for today's lesson 1.2, you needed to add metabolism, and then we added these as well. So 1.2, we had these 2 concepts, and so add those 2. And then we had these concepts as well. So the body takes in molecules by eating and breathing, and then some of these travel to the cells of the body. And so obviously you can pause this video to kind of get that information, but that is it for 1.2.